What's going on, everybody? Today we are doing a tier list on all of Peter Parker's Spider-Man's villains. If you guys didn't see recently, I made a tier list on all Miles Morales' Spider-Man's villains. And in the comments, people were just blowing it up, telling me, you gotta rank Peter Parker's. You gotta rank the Amazing Spider-Man's. Please tell me what you think of Mr. Parker's villains. So here I am. I've got a tier list for you guys here. This one's already pre-made. This is not like the one I made for you guys for Miles Morales. This is a pre-made tier list. It has a lot, and I mean a lot, of Spider-Man villains. I think we have a good amount of them here. Sure, one or two are going to be missing. They always are, but we try our best to try and have all of them. So I'm calling this the ranking of every single Spider-Man villain, okay? And now this is just my ranking. This is my opinion. I'll try and be consistent, and I'll try and offer you guys my thoughts on each and every single one of these characters. But overall, at the end of the day, they are my opinions. That's all they can be. So there's no really objectivity behind this. If I say somebody's S and you disagree with me, you're allowed to. But you know what you gotta do is you should comment down below why you disagree with me. Like, I want to know people's thoughts on my ranking. Also, comment who you think is the best Spider-Man villain. I'm jumping into this video right now. We're gonna start at the top. We have Venom. So Venom for me, I mean, by no means is he a good villain, in my opinion. And that's not to hate on him and say, like, he's bad, he's ass, nobody should like Venom. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying here is he's like hardly a villain. And even when he is a villain, he's not around for too long either, nor does he do anything notable. I'm gonna put him in D tier, honestly. I like Venom a lot, and I like Agent Venom a lot, but as a villain, a Spider-Man villain, he's really not. I'll put him in C. That's the best you get from me, is C tier. Next up, we have the Beetle, and this is the current Beetle. What is her name? Lonnie Lincoln's daughter. Oh my goodness, what is her name? Janice Lincoln. For me, I would say Janice Lincoln is around C to D tier as well. Honestly, she's certainly worse than Venom. She doesn't do anything notable, in my opinion, nor does her character really matter. I've got to put her in C tier. I don't know why she would be above that. The original Beetle wouldn't even be above it either. He doesn't really do anything notable, but neither does she. I need her to get some real storytelling, you know, some narrative movement pieces. We have Big Wheel after this. And if this was a meme tier list, Big Wheel would easily be an S tier. This is sadly not that, though. I'm trying to make a real list of my opinions on the Spider-Man villains. Big Wheel is easily a D tier. Like, I don't know if I really have to talk about this or why I should have to, outside of it being a joke of fucking character. He's just a giant fucking wheel. Like, my nephew has a big wheel. Is he a villain, a Spider-Man villain? Be so real. No. Black Cat. Now, I don't want to say this as strictly as a villain, because she's not really the greatest villain. Let's be real with ourselves. But as a character and somebody who's, like, against Spider-Man sometimes, she's S tier. I'm not going to say she's Spider-Man's best villain, and I'm not trying to even go hard on her being a villain. I know already people are going to be like, what about Venom? You say he's not a villain. But, like, it's different, right? Black Cat has definitely done some villainous things in the past. She's also, like, grown over time. She's been around for, like, fucking since the 70s, so now it's 40 years, 50 years. Venom was around for what? 4 years before he gets on Flash Thompson? And what does he do in that storyline? He has the fight with Mr. Negative? Like, I don't know what more I'm supposed to do with that. The only thing Venom really has is he has the adaptation of Edge of Time. Outside of that, he literally's got nothing going for him. And even in Edge of Time, he's just a big doofus bad guy. He's not even really the character adapted well. Either, I'm moving on. We have Black Tarantula here. Black Tarantula's pretty not notable. He's easily the least notable character on here. Even though Big Wheel is more of a joke, he's definitely way more well known because of the joke. This character is just bland and boring to me. I don't really give a shit about him, if I'm going to be honest with you. But then we go to Boomerang. Boomerang, I think, is a solid villain, right? But then you get into, like, the superior foes of Spider-Man, and he just starts flying up the rankings. He really does. Especially in Nick Spencer's run, too, where Nick Spencer, for Amazing Spider-Man, Nick Spencer really had him be a very, very big part of the story. He's Peter Parker's roommate in Nick Spencer's run, so you really get a lot of character exploration with Boomerang. Like when they go to, like, the trivia night and how he's actually trying to save him. It's pretty crazy. I like Boomerang as a character. I'm putting him in B tier. I know people probably going to hate on that. People probably going to be like, he's a C tier, motherfucker. He's C tier. But nah. I got to put him in B tier personally. I've gone on record of saying this is my favorite Spider-Man villain of all time, Carnage. Carnage is without a doubt the best Spider-Man villain in my opinion. I don't even think it's close. I love just how serious shit gets when Carnage is around. Like, it's just like, it's no laughing matter. It's no time for jokes. Everybody just locks the fuck in. And I know what you're thinking, like, Green Goblin instills that fear into him. It's like, I I don't know if it's the same, man. During the Superior Spider-Man run, right, when Doc Ock gives the body back to Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man shows up to fight the Green Goblin. Green Goblin's essentially taking over the city, about to kill a woman. Things are on nightmare mode. They're on the DEFCON 5, and Spider-Man immediately cracking jokes. Just immediately starts cracking jokes, and I don't mind. I love it. That's the peak chemistry and relationship Green Goblin and Peter Parker Spider-Man have together. Is that the two of them are just like, they love to get under each other's fucking skin. But Peter Parker Spider-Man does not have the luxury to even attempt to try to get under Cletus Cassidy's skin because he's just so evil. He's just going to kill anything he wants to kill. Spider-Man has to go to a different mode if he wants to take down Carnage. So to me, he's easily the best Spider-Man villain ever. I fucking love Carnage. I believe this is Chameleon. The reason I say I believe is because every single character on here so far is a comic book design, and this is clearly the Spectacular Spider-Man design. But it looks like Chameleon to me. Chameleon will probably be at the top of the C tier. I think he's really good for an early age Spider-Man. When Spider-Man first started out, Chameleon was actually the first villain that ever showed up, and it makes sense because he's really not that powerful or strong. But if Spider-Man is trying to figure out how to use his abilities and whatnot, he can cause some damage. You know, he can be kind of a menace if Spider-Man's got to figure shit out on the fly, while Chameleon's like already this professional evil Russian spy, you know, counterintelligence guy. All in all, I don't think he really fits later down the line. I think he falls off the power creep pretty hard. And like writers try and make him work, but I feel like they should just give him to another character. Spider-Man already has the spider sense, and I feel like he should be like alerted to whoever Chameleon is with that alone. But Chameleon's not really that powerful. I'm sure there's other street levelers that like you can maybe make work. I've already talked about it in a video. I thought Daredevil could be fun against Chameleon, but that's just me. We're gonna move on to the Demogoblin. And Demogoblin does not show up very much. Demogoblin he's dead currently, and he only was around for like the 80s, 90s, late 80s, early 90s, like mid 90s, I should say. Maybe late 90s. He's probably like a 10-year career before he dies, at the most, I'd say. I don't know if he really does enough to, like, cause he's around too. I'm not trying to make it sound like in those 10 years, he's definitely around. He's fighting Ghost Rider, he's fighting Morbius, he's fighting Venom, and Peter Parker Spider-Man. He's in Maximum Carnage. He's definitely getting around, but I don't know if he really does enough to Spider-Man specifically to warrant me putting him in above C tier. I put him at the top of the C tier right now. I'd even put him above Chameleon personally. I think I do like him there. But other than that, I don't see him being above any of the people above him so far. Boomerang, I'm sure, is shocking people. But I really liked Boomerang as like the more character development they gave to him. Doc Ock currently is going to be in second place. The only reason he's not in first place is because of Carnage, and I just fucking love that guy. But everybody knows Doc Ock is one of the greatest Spider-Man villains ever created. Outside of the fact that his color scheme is just so goddamn iconic, he looks like a linebacker for the Green Bay Packers in some iterations, and I just love that so much. This German scientist is just so fucking great, man. He's just phenomenal as an antithesis to Spider-Man. First off, Doc Ock, spider. 8 legs. We're already going at it. The Doc Ock, the octopus, lives in the water, whereas the spider, more so found on land. Maybe even could balloon around and fly. These two are supposed to be opposites, yet they both have genius. They both could do such great things with the world, yet one chooses to do bad and the other chooses to do good. Doc Ock then crossed paths with Spider-Man so many times, you get Superior Spider-Man, you got like Superior Octopus as well. Like the character he's gone through many iterations and change over time. He's grown. He's had amazing storylines, whether it be like the death of Spider-Man where he's saving Spider-Man, whether it be Superior Spider-Man, whether it be assembling the Sinister Six, the return of the Sinister Six. He's had so many godlike storylines, there's no way you can't put him in the top tier. He literally founded the Sinister Six, guys. Doc Ock is easily S tier. Next up, we have my boy, Doppelganger. And if you've seen my video on Doppelganger, you know I say his name way too much, so I'm probably not going to say his name too much in this video. At least I'll try not to, because I know people commented that out the wazoo. But for me, y'all can hate on it. Doppelganger is one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man villains. One, he's horrifically scary. Two, I feel like there's so much there they could do with him. They choose not to do with him. We've talked about that in a video, though. I will link it. But Doppelganger, his character seems shallow, but I feel like they could do more with it. They could explore the character more, and he's so cool. I don't like all these Spider-Man clones, right? I don't need Spider-Side. I don't need these spiders from another Spider-Verse being evil or anything. No, this is the evil Spider-Man in my eyes. It's Doppelganger. He's created by Magus. He's one of the Doppelgangers. He's the only one that survived. I love him. I love the storytelling he's gotten. I loved him in Maximum Carnage. I loved him in Carnage USA, or I think it's the lead up to Carnage USA, although he's in a little bit of Carnage USA as well. I just love the character so much. He was in that recent mobile game they had him in as well. The character fucking rocks, in my opinion. I really hope we get to see more of him, or in the comics they explore more about him. But I like him in the A tier. He probably won't be the top of the A tier by all said and done, but I like him in A tier. Honestly, I'm going to have a hard time keeping him in A tier, though, because of some of the iconic ones. I have to put him at the top of B tier. I know it sounds like a quick flip up, but then I saw Electro, and I'm like, I can't honestly put Electro below Doppelganger. Electro is one of the most iconic Spider-Man villains ever, man. I mean, even if he's not great, but like Electro, I'm putting Electro in A. What the heck is going on? Electro is one of the most iconic Spider-Man villains ever. I think he belongs in A tier. Honestly, though, I feel like I'm creating quite the divide by not putting anybody in A tier, but I also am going to put Electro on the top of B tier, because as much as I like Electro and as much as an iconic character he is, he doesn't have those iconic stories, and his adaptation in live action is also really not that great, and in a lot of adaptations you will find the character in, he's still not that great. When you're talking about Electro's character, you're really not talking about much. He's really just a fucking thug, and he's really kind of just been a thug for 60 years. And there's been some stories here and there that make the character pretty good. Like, I think it's like, I can't possibly turn off the dark. But I covered it in my Electro video that came out with like 2 years ago. God, I've been doing this thing for a bit now. Either way, the character's kind of just been a fucking thug, though, the entirety of the time. Like, literally nothing more, next to nothing less either. He's just been a thug. And then you get Francine on the scene, then you got boy thug and girl thug. I just can't see myself putting this character in A tier because he's kind of one note, just an evil bad guy, but he's so goddamn iconic, he's really above everybody else I said. We're going to go to Green Goblin next. As a Spider-Man villain, I mean, maybe in the video I might have contradicted myself, and I hope I never have, because I truly do believe this, and I have friends like Coulter35, who I've been friends with since the first grade, and he will vouch because he's known me my whole life. I have always thought Green Goblin is a better villain for Spider-Man than Doc Ock. And now this is not to say that Doc Ock isn't just as good as a villain. It can't be just as good as a villain, because he certainly can be. But to me, Doc Ock just never fit the scariness, super bad boy role that Green Goblin did. Obviously, I have Carnage at number 1. He super fits that role. Carnage embodies that role. But to me, Green Goblin and Spider-Man were always felt like they're supposed to be like battling it out forever. Like in the scene from Spider-Man 1 where he's like, or we could just fight. To one of us rules over the city, Spider-Man. Like when they're having that argument on the rooftop. That shit's kind of like how I always have felt about Green Goblin. Like he was always the nemesis. And I have a video where I think I talk about Doc Ock is Spider-Man's nemesis, but like Peter Parker's nemesis is Green Goblin. Like this man killed Gwen Stacy, he killed his daughter, he killed Ben Reilly. Like this man is a fucking monster when it comes to attacking the personal. Doc Ock doesn't do it like that, right? He's just like the best bad guy here. Out of everybody here, he's like the best bad guy, him and Kingpin. They want to get what they want to get. They're really vicious about it. They hate Spider-Man. They want to do what they, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they got. But Green Goblin, I feel like he goes that personal route. Granted, Kingpin's going the personal route too. We'll get there. We'll get there. But for me, Green Goblin is the second best Spider-Man villain. Hammerhead. I would put Hammerhead below Chameleon. Below there. I would put it there. Hammerhead is not the greatest character. I have his first appearance. That's pretty cool. But overall, if Electro's just a thug with electric powers, Hammerhead's just a thug with an adamantium skull. Like, that's it. He's literally using like a Thompson 20 as if he came from the 1940s and 50s still. Like, this character is pretty goofy. He's boring. He's bland. He's iconic. Don't worry. You see him all the time. He's been in plenty of adaptations, whether it be Insomniac or whether it be Spectacular Spider-Man. He's shown up quite a bit. But he's pretty bland, right? He just has a big head that's strong. I can't really put him up higher than that. Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin for me will be the first character I get to put in the A tier. Now, I know I probably should have been putting more characters in the A tier, but this just feels right. I don't know if he's necessarily an S tier villain. He arguably could be, but to me, he's definitely at least an A tier right now. Maybe I move him, maybe I don't. But the character, he becomes Hobgoblin after Green Goblin's gone. And he's like the Green Goblin, except for he's way more calculated, measured in, not necessarily as smart. He's more of a mercenary. He's in this to make money. He's not in this to die. He's not in this for a vendetta. He's in this to beat Spider-Man's ass if the job calls for it. But he's trying to get paid. If he doesn't get paid to beat Spider-Man's ass, he's fucking out of there. He doesn't want to be there. Why would he want to be there if he's not making money? So Hobgoblin, I love that about him. I love the colorway. I do also love how raw he gets. When he's fighting Peter Parker Spider-Man, he just looks so raw. Like I love the Hobgoblin. So he's gonna go in A tier. Next up we got Hydro. Hydro will go in the top of D tier. I don't really give a shit about this character. In the 90s show, they made him into some really weirdo creep who follows around Mary Jane everywhere. In actuality, he's just a water villain. He was pretty cool in the Universal ride, but I really don't have too much to say about him. I don't care about him. He's not that cool. The Jackal. The Jackal is about the exact same thing I would say about Hydra, except for he's definitely had more of an effect on the mythos because he started the whole clone bullshit we all got to deal with to this very fucking day. But overall, the Jackal, I don't think he's that cool of a character. One, I don't give a shit about the clones. Two, I think he looks really ugly. He's supposed to be scary, but he doesn't have that scare factor that Carnage and Green Goblin have. He just has a scare factor of like, I think this guy's got jaundice. You know, he doesn't really look that cool. I don't really give a damn about him. I also think it's a little bit far-fetched that this like high school teacher is mastering the art of cloning. I just don't care. I don't. So for me, Jackal is a solid D tier villain. Next up, we got Jack-O-Lantern. Jack-O-Lantern is pretty different. He's pretty difficult also to like pin down because he's been a villain for so many different characters and so many different people have been Jack-O-Lantern. I think overall I can put him above Hammerhead, but this is really the best I could do for you guys. The character really just changes too much. He's not necessarily that Spider-Man villain. Everybody above him is way more of a Spider-Man villain than he is, in my opinion. That's where it's just going to be. I love the design. I think it looks great. I think he's fun, and I liked him in the 2017 show when he like briefly shows up. But he's really not that much of a Spider-Man villain, guys. He does his own thing. He's got a lot going on, and he never really like goes hard on Peter, in my opinion. Like I don't know. I never really felt fear around him when Peter is, and he's supposed to be like a goblin almost to a sense. And these goblins, they strike fear in Peter sometimes. So he's gonna be in C tier. I cannot lie. I can't really tell. I think this is Kangaroo. The image is like not the greatest. If y'all have a better picture of it than I do, and you could tell me who you think this is, let me know in the comments down below if I'm wrong. But I think it's Kangaroo. If it is Kangaroo, he's easily the worst. He's like the D'est of D tiers out of everybody we've talked about so far. This character is ass. Rarely shows up. Doesn't really do anything. I thought it might have been Gibbon as well. And if it is, the exact same reasoning applies. He's still going to be the last place character here because the character fucking sucks. I'm going to just move on. A lot of these characters I just talked about were pretty brief because they don't have much of like a stamp on the mythos. Jackal definitely does. I just don't fucking like him. Hydra, not really. If this is Kangaroo or Gibbon, definitely not. If this is in Jack-O-Lantern, like I've talked about, there's so many different Jack-O-Lanterns, and most of them aren't Spider-Man villains explicitly. They fight other people like Agent Venom or Captain America. Yes, he has been a Spider-Man villain in the past, but that doesn't mean he's like always a Spider-Man villain. And even still, because characters on here, like I'll talk about like Kingpin and Venom, they don't necessarily always just fight Spider-Man. When they were a villain, you can remember those stories. Jack-O-Lantern, not that I don't remember his stories, they just didn't have anything moving happening in them. So that's why I have him there. But we're going to move to Karn, and this is also probably going to be another quick one because, you know, he's like a Spider-Verse villain turned good guy. He doesn't really do much. I'll put him above Tarantula and Big... I won't even put him above Big Wheel. I really won't put him above Big Wheel because he's literally that random. They just created this character. I think he's like an inheritor, but he's also not an inheritor. The inheritors make him like do their bidding, but he's also one of them because like it's a whole convoluted thing, and nobody likes anything with the inheritors in the first place. If your name isn't Morlun, I don't give a shit about you. So... D tier. Also, remember, these are my opinions, too. So if you're going to come at me and be like, well, you know, Karn actually meant a lot to the Spiders. I don't give a shit. I thought Spider-Verse comics were ass. You know, the only good Spider-Verse comic is Spider-Verse versus Venomverse, and that just came out. And the Spider-Verse comics came out in 2014. That's over 10 years of straight dog shit comics. Either way. Next up is Kingpin. Kingpin's going to S tier. He's below Doc Ock, but he's certainly in S tier. First appearing Amazing Spider-Man 50, one of the all-time biggest and greatest Spider-Man villains. Yes, he becomes a Daredevil arch nemesis. We all know this. But he's still very much Spider-Man's bad guy still. He's still an S tier version of him, too. If you watch the 90s show, this guy is that bad guy. He is the ultimate evil. And he's like everywhere, and he knows like everything. The Kingpin rocks in the 90s show. But it goes, there's more than just that. He's in Insomniac Spider-Man, is he not? He's in the Amazing Spider-Man video game, is he not? There is a video game out there called Spider-Man versus Kingpin. Like, he has his own video game fighting Spider-Man. So yes, he becomes a Daredevil villain, I know. But he is still very much still a Spider-Man villain. The motherfucker hired a hit on Aunt May that caused one more day, and we're all still suffering for it. So honestly, 2 middle fingers to you. You're a great bad guy. Fuck you, Kingpin. Moving on. Kraven. Kraven, I would actually put at the top of B tier as well, and I know you guys are probably still thinking it. When does somebody else get added to A tier? Well, when I say so, because I don't think any of these characters are really there yet. As much as Kraven has a better comic than pretty much anybody on here in Kraven's Last Hunt, that's kind of all he really has. His movie was dog shit. A lot of his adaptations, they either are fucking weird, like Spectacular Spider-Man, where he turns into a giant cheetah, or their like 90s show where he's like best friends with Spider-Man for some reason. I don't like it. Thought Insomniac did it well. Insomniac had a great Kraven, actually. I won't lie. But like, who else is doing it like that? The Unlimited show from 1999? I'm not going to go that far. The 2017 Kraven I thought looked horrible, so I won't go that far either. I think overall the character's iconic. You know, he's a part of the original Sinister Six. He's always been around. He's been around for a very long time. I'm just not willing to say that like Kraven's an A-tier villain when he's got like that one good story. I could carry him so hard. And he has other alright decent stories. I'm not trying to hate on the other stuff, but I'm just not willing to put him in A-tier. I'm just not. I'm sorry. You should make your own list and put him in A-tier if you want to, because to me, he's a B-tier villain. That doesn't mean he's bad. I just don't know if he's really up there with these guys. I love these guys. A-tier plus. I'm going to have to say the exact same rigmarole again. Lizard is the top of B tier. I would put him below Kraven, actually, but in a similar stance. Like, I love Lizard. Super iconic. If I'm not mistaken, appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 8 or 7. It might have even been 4. No, it wasn't 4. It definitely wasn't 4. It might be 6. But it's one of those. It's pretty early. He's been around forever. You know, he's with Spider-Man in Battle World. He comes back from Battle World with Spider-Man. He's in that one really dog game where his name is like Lizard Man for some reason. He's been around in all different places constantly. I just don't really see him in the 8 tier just because what is that one Lizard story you read that really put him there for you? Yeah, he was cool in the 90s show, but he kind of doesn't really do much. I mean, he's got that one episode. For me, he's just a B tier. Okay, I try and make sense of it. I can't make sense of him being an A tier villain. I mean, maybe he is. That iconic lab coat looks so good. But then you got the newer adaptations that don't even use it, like the Amazing Spider-Man and freaking Insomniac, where he just grows too big for the lab coat. I mean, that wouldn't even make sense if he had a lab coat. I'll be fair. I have him in B tier. I'm not going to lie. At the end of this ranking, I'm going to be more willing to move stuff around. As of right now, he's definitely a B tier villain. Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative is going to go above Doppelganger. He's definitely in the B tier. And this is a good thing. This isn't one of those like, this guy should be A tier. It's like, yo, this guy's pretty new. He came out in 2008. He's had 17 years on the scene, and already he's a B tier Spider-Man villain. I think that's a lot of claim. I think that he deserves a lot of praise for that. He's a cool character. I find him super fucking interesting. Just don't know if he's A tier yet. You know, he was phenomenal in the Insomniac game. I hope we get to see him in live action. We'll see in the future. But as of right now, I'm going to put him in B tier. Again, a spectacular Spider-Man costume design for a character. It's Molten Man. Molten Man to me is just Hydro Man on fire. I still don't care about him. I mean, I do believe Molten Man's first appearance is when Spider-Man graduates high school, but I don't know if that makes Molten Man any cooler. I think it just makes that issue more memorable. It has nothing to do with him, though. So, Molten Man's going to be a D-tier villain. Morbius. He's definitely not in the B tier. I would put him in C tier below Demogoblin. Below Chameleon. I would put him below Chameleon. He's a cool character. He's got some things going on for him. I liked him in Midnight Suns, but the movie kind of just destroyed his credibility. And then Ultimate Spider-Man, he was a Nazi as well. Either way, I just think overall, a character that's already a vampire isn't the most interesting thing. Like, when you look at a lot of the Spider-Man villains, they're kind of original. And that doesn't mean, like, they're, like, super duper original. Nobody's ever thought of a doctor. No one's ever thought of an octopus before. No, like, I'm not trying to be, like, that reductive. What I mean like that is, like, Carnage. He is an alien from space, essentially. Oh, that's pretty cool. Green Goblin. Well, that's pretty cool. I don't know what a goblin necessarily is. You know, they could be a lot of different stuff. Dr. Octopus. He uses these extra limbs to fight with. The Kingpin. He's the king of New York City's gang underlord. Kraven. He's a hunter. You know, you get where I'm going with this? They all feel a bit original. This is just a vampire. Like, just a vampire. So to me, it just doesn't feel cool enough. Like, Morlun feels way cooler than him, in my opinion. I put Morlun in the B tier. This is based on how much I like Morlun, which is usually based on the first 2 appearances we get from him. And he's B tier. You want to look at the Spider-Verse stuff? Falls down the rankings. Don't get me wrong. But I love Morlun's initial appearance. I feel like there's still a lot of good they could do with him. And I'm not willing to put him below B tier yet. I think he's a B tier villain. But as we move on, we have Mysterio. Mysterio is our next person up here. And I think everybody here knows this is an A-tier villain. Like, I love the illusions. I love that stuff so much. I think it works perfectly for Spider-Man with the spider sense. It's like a better chameleon. Chameleon's like, oh, I use my spider sense. That guy's chameleon. Then Mysterio comes around. He's like, all right, use your spider sense, motherfucker. Try and figure out which one's really me. And then Spider-Man's got to really lock in. So I feel like he's like the next step up in the best way possible because he just got to such a grandiose level with all of his stuff. I loved him in Spectacular Spider-Man. I even loved him in the MCU. Mysterio is one of the best Spider-Man villains overall. Love everything about him. To me, he's an A-tier Spider-Man villain. Prowler. Okay, this is where it gets hard. This is where a lot of you probably get mad at me, but Prowler is an A-tier Spider-Man villain as well. Now, this is based off his original appearances because later on, everybody knows Prowler becomes Aaron Davis, or he retires, depending upon how you look at it, because if you want to just count Hobie Brown's, he even comes back and helps a little bit during the Parker Beyond era. He's like, filling in. He's helping out. But I just love Hobie Brown's Prowler so much. I love what it stands for. And the time, like when the story was written as well as like a story for like, how do I explain this? This story came out with Hobie Brown, if I'm not mistaken, in, I want to say 1968 when his first appearance is with the Prowler. I think it's Amazing Spider-Man 71. And then in this issue, you see that Hobie Brown is the victim or subject to racism, and J. Jonah Jameson's standing up for him because his boss is racist. Hobie's boss is racist. And but Hobie's like, I'm not doing none of this, man. I ain't listening to any of this shit. I'm out of here, boy. And he dips out. And then he's like, I'm going to steal this shit. So then he goes to steal the stuff. Spider-Man stops him. And then at the end of it, Spider-Man's like, yo, I don't got to take you to jail, though. Because you didn't even steal anything. Like, I know who you are. You're trying to do the best for yourself. Like, just get your head on the swivel. Get it on the right route. And focus on doing that thing. And that's exactly what Hobie Brown does. And then he even ends up wearing the Spider-Man costume to help out Spider-Man. And he's like, if I'm not mistaken, the first person to wear Spider-Man's costume outside of Peter Parker. I love Hobie Brown. One of my favorite Spider-Man characters ever. Currently the Spider-Punk in a different universe. But either way, Hobie Brown is easily an A-tier villain. Maybe on notoriety, you can say he's less than that because Kraven and Lizard and Electro are certainly more notable than him. But I don't give a shit. I'm putting him in the A-tier. I love the character. Next up, we got Rhino. And if you are a fan of this channel, you knew this was happening. Rhino, in my opinion, is an S-tier Spider-Man villain. He is without a doubt my favorite of the quote-unquote jobber class of Spider-Man villains. He is just so goddamn fun. This character has also got some depth to him, too. He's not just like big, strong brute who's dumb and stupid. No, he wants to get out of the Rhino suit. He doesn't want to be in it for life. He wanted to get married and leave this life behind him, but then his freaking wife was murdered by Rhino, too. At one point, he got really smart and he tried to kill himself because he didn't want to live like that anymore. He liked how life was before. The character just has such an interesting way of telling stories and getting stories out from him. 10 out of 10. Easily an S-tier villain. And then next up we have Sandman. I like Sandman a lot. I would actually put Sandman above Prowler and Mysterio. To me, Sandman is really great. He's got that sympathetic villain for Spider-Man as well as Rhino. Like, they both have that aspect to them. I like Rhino more personally, but that doesn't mean Sandman's not fucking phenomenal. I believe it's like Peter Parker's Spectacular Spider-Man issue 311. I know that's pulling out random one. Like, this is super random, so I could be mistaken. I'll fix it on the screen if I am. But like when you get to see Spider-Man sitting with Sandman right before Sandman dies, like it's his final like moments with him, it's just so good. It's just so beautiful. And I really think everybody should check it out, man. Sandman's a great villain, phenomenal, easily an A-tier villain in my opinion. Next up, we got Mac Gargan Scorpion. I put him above Mr. Negative. I put him above Electro too. For me, Mac Gargan Scorpion has got a lot of interesting stuff to him. He's got a good narrative if you can run with, in the sense that like he was a loser dork bitch who like Jameson pays to be turned into this monstrosity. It's great storytelling. It's great narrative running. Over time, too, you get to see him be, like, pathetic as he's, like, trying to grow out of it and everything. He's trying to grow stronger. Then you get to see him, like, befriend Miles Morales as Spider-Man. But this isn't supposed to be focused on him. It's focused on Peter Parker. Either way, I would say Scorpion is pretty solidly in the B tier. He's a phenomenal villain. Scream does not show up nearly enough. She doesn't fight Spider-Man nearly enough. I don't even understand why she's here. She's definitely not going below Kangaroo or Karn or any of these idiots, though. Don't get me wrong. She can go here. Definitely does not belong on this list, in my opinion. That's just me. Shocker. Shocker is the other best jobber on this list. If Rhino's a jobber and Shocker's a jobber, they're both jobbing it up together, and I love it. Shocker's an A-tier villain, whether you're reading Superior Foes of Spider-Man, because that's a great book for him. Or like you're just reading like this newer age Spider-Man stories where they're like actually portraying Shocker to be a bit more of a loser rather than back in the day where he just like was there. Either way, this character's actually become an actual character, and he's way more fun to read about. I think he's easily an A-tier character, but this is where I stand on it. I do believe this is the last of the Spectacular Spider-Man designs. Silver Sable. I mean, as a character, she's kind of similar to Black Cat in the sense I fucking love her. But she's not, like, nearly around enough like Black Cat is. She still, like, has her evil moments. She's not really evil enough, though. I'd put her in the bottom of the B tier. Big fan of Silver Sable. Love what she does. I love how she's, like, from Simcaria. She gets the money. She raises it up for her country. She's literally her country's, like, entire financial stability. I think it's an interesting character design. I loved her in Insomniac's game. I think Silver Sable she pretty solidly deserves her spot in B tier. Oh my god, the Spider Slayer himself. Oh my god, what is the fucking goober's name? Jesus, what is this goober's name? Isn't it Alistair? Yes, it is Alistair. Alistair Smythe, to me, where did I put him? To me, Alistair Smythe definitely belongs in D tier. I don't really give a shit about him. 90s Spider-Man was the only time I ever cared about him. BJ Novak was actually playing him in the Amazing Spider-Man universe, and I was actually kind of hoping they would do something with him because I like BJ Novak a lot. But at the end of the day, they didn't, so all we got is really 90s. It's pretty shallow in the comics. I don't really give a shit about him in the comics. I can tell you that. He's above Big Wheel. Spot's top of B tier. Spot would be A tier if it's all Spider-Man villains, but that's because Miles Morales helped boost him up a little bit. Overall, I really do like the Spot, but I don't think he has like as much of a part in like causing Spider-Man misery in the comics as like you could tell from the Spider-Verse movies. He's way more of a jokester. He's not nearly as strong as you would think he could be. He's like a dimensional hopper, but he's a jobber. But either way, I still like the character. He's still fun. But like, all things considered, actually, I think I put him around here. I think I put him around like the bottom half of B tier. Just because like it doesn't make any fucking sense. The writers wrote him as a dimensional hopping jobber. I just can't fathom it. Don't know how we had to wait until Spider-Verse came out in like 2022 for somebody to be like, oh wait, this guy can dimension hop. Why is he so weak? At least we figured it out, because I think in the future we're going to get a way better Spot in most comics going forward. Next up, we have Tombstone. Tombstone, for me, has his great moments, like with Robbie and Punisher and all that stuff. Like, I love that, like the meetup they have. But in the same time, the recent stuff from Tombstone has just been pitiful. It's kind of like Morlun in a sense. But I want to go by the character's heights. I don't want to go by the character's lows. So I will put Tombstone up in the B tier. Probably, maybe top of C tier. No, he's definitely above Boomerang. This is where Tombstone's going to go for me. Again, I don't want to say Zeb Wells' run ruined Tombstone, because the character had a lot going for him. He's a great part of the Spider-Man's mythos. I love him as like a street gang lord. He's like Kingpin, but to a lesser extent. But recently he's risen to that, and I don't really like how overall, he's a solidly a B-tier character. I don't think he's any higher than this. I think he could be lower than this based on like what we've seen recently, but I'm trying to take him at his high point, and I'm going to take him in B-tier. Toxin is like similar to Scream, but even less so, because Toxin definitely becomes a super good, not like a super good guy, but definitely becomes a good guy. Definitely doesn't fight Spider-Man too much either, but definitely cooler than these guys. So right where Scream is. Right where Scream is where Toxin's going to go. We only have 3 characters left on this list, and these 3 are very great characters in my opinion. All 3 of them are. Venom's S tier. As a villain, everybody knows Venom's time was short, especially if we're only talking about Eddie Brock. I believe it was 4 years, 4 to 5 years, maybe less than that even. Might have been 3. Might be like, you could argue it. You could argue 3. 1988 to 91, I'd say, because I think that's when Maximum Carnage started to come out. You could argue it, but it's not definitive. Those aren't the set years, but around 3 to 6 years is what he would say as a villain. But that time frame when Venom was a villain, he was like the most sold character at Marvel. Like the only reason Venom isn't still a villain is because he just sold so many fucking books. They're like, yo, we gotta make this guy a good guy or an anti-hero or something so we can give him his own book so people will keep buying him. Because he was just so profitable. As a villain, he was just Spider-Man's nightmare, going around fucking with him, going around fucking with MJ. He was going to Aunt May's household. Like, just an absolute bastard. In adaptations, he's one of my favorite adapted characters in the 90s show or in Midnight Suns. Granted, Midnight Suns didn't have the villain, but 90s show did. God, it's great. Spectacular Spider-Man did too, and I thought that Venom was pretty damn good too. I don't have him above the rest of these characters because they're actual villains, and he's actually a good guy. Kind of similar to Black Cat. Like, they're both in a similar boat. They're S-tier characters. They're just not really S-tier villains for Spider-Man, even if they're like, were adversaries to Spider-Man at one point in their lives. Next up, we have Vermin, and this could shock you, but I actually think Vermin is also an S tier villain. Vermin, to me, has like 2 of the 3 greatest Spider-Man stories ever with Kraven's Last Hunt and The Child Within. But then following that up, it's like the death of Vermin is also a fucking phenomenal storyline. You wouldn't believe how many great comics this guy has if you were just looking at his adaptations, because he never gets fucking adapted in anything. It doesn't make any sense. How is this character in so many great comics, yet they can't actually make an adaptation and put him in it? I don't get it. I truly don't. The character is a really, really good character. If you don't know enough about Vermin, I strongly suggest you do. I truly believe he's an S tier villain based on the stories and impact he has on Spider-Man's mythos. And then the last villain I have here is Vulture. I think Vulture is a very good villain, but he's around with these guys. I would put him just below Electro. He's a similar vein as Electro. Came out first, Amazing Spider-Man number 2. But, like, he's just the old guy who flies. He's iconic. He's been on Sinister Six teams. You know, he's been around. He's fucking with Spider-Man's life his whole life. Almost killed him in the Zeb Wells run. That was pitiful. But overall, like, are we really going to be like, Vulture is just better than all of these guys around him, even though it's a very similar story, and he has a very similar impact on the mythos? Like, no, he just shouldn't be below. He shouldn't be with these goobers, but he also shouldn't be above either, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. Give me a second to go over my list and make sure I really love it. So I can just tell that people aren't going to like Prowler being here, and they're going to really chime in for Kraven being here. I'm just not going to oblige, though. This is my list. You should comment down below your list, and we could talk about it a bit. But as of now, this is pretty set for me. I'm going to keep going, though. Honestly, the only thing I'm very willing to do after looking at this list and perusing through it a little bit is I'm willing to move Silver Sable and Morbius up. Not out of their tiers, but I'm willing to move them to the top of their tiers. Or not the top of both their tiers, because Silver Sable's not moving to the top of the tier. But I can see her being around here. I can solidly put Silver Sable in the higher part of the B tier, and I can put Morbius at the top of C tier. And I can... Nah, this is where it's staying. I'm cool on this list now. I think this is my list officially. From my Amazing Spider-Man villains. I'm very interested to know what you guys think, so please comment down below your thoughts, because, I mean, I went through this and it took me quite a bit, so if you stayed this long also, like, you should really just, like, pat yourself on the back and be like, yo, let me comment and be like, I made it through the whole thing. Either way, I appreciate you if you made it this far into the video. I really do. It means a lot to me that I get to just talk about Spider-Man and you guys like to listen to me talk about it, but that's all I have for you guys in this video. I enjoyed making it. It was a blasty blast, but, yeah, that's it. Dunk out. Peace.